The economy is playing a huge role in this presidential election, and joining us now with more is Kereakos Zuras. He's a former advisor to President George W. Bush and an expert in turning around failing businesses. Kereakos, we recently found out the unemployment rate has finally dropped below 8% after 43 months above that mark. Does that mean the economy is starting to do well?
No, it really doesn't, because what they're really not telling you is that although it dropped below 8%, what happens is that when you take into consideration the U6 measure, which measures all the people that are not working for all the reasons they're not working, the unemployment rate is actually 14.7%. And the jobs that were created recently to drop it below 8% were part-time work, which means there's a lot of families out there that are working 2 and sometimes 3 jobs to make up for the income just to stay afloat.
Well, the story behind the numbers. Are average Americans and business owners better off than they were 4 years ago, or are they growing more confident the economy is recovering and the president has the right solutions?
The president's solutions are very clear. They're failing. Okay, we are at a debt of over $16 trillion, which has now surpassed our GDP. There are still 23 million Americans that are out of work or underemployed and can't make ends meet. Our poverty level is higher than ever, with over 46 million people on food stamps and government assistance. Small businesses are scared and they're not hiring. They're the engine of our economy, and they're just holding back because Obamacare is going to be the biggest tax on the middle class and the biggest burden on small business, which is going to effectively raise the corporate tax rate to 45%. And President Obama is also proposing a 0.9, almost 1% increase on self-employed income, not to mention a 3.5% on investment income. All these taxes that are going to come to pay for these things are only going to stall the economy. Everything this president has done is stalled job growth and has stalled our economy and put us further and further into debt. So no, the small business is not confident, and Americans, I don't think, are confident at all, because there's still 23+ million out of work.
Well, as you just said, President Obama is campaigning to raise taxes on the wealthy to decrease deficit spending. Romney says his plan is to increase revenue by boosting the economy instead. Has either side successfully explained why their idea would work?
Well, I think Mitt Romney did an excellent job in the debate explaining how when you get people back to work, when you're getting millions of people a month back to work, by lowering the corporate tax rate, by keeping the Bush tax cuts in place, making cuts and getting rid of programs that are unnecessary, when people are back to work, they're going to then generate tax revenue for the government. That's where the money's going to come from, and also eliminating failed programs and unnecessary programs. President Obama wants to continue to grow government jobs, which are tax dependent, meaning that all the taxpayers are going to continuously have to pay higher taxes to keep people employed. And as we all know, the government employs a lot of people, and there's a lot of waste in government. So he's grown the government jobs by 25%, although private sector jobs have not grown at all, really. And he's really created 0 net jobs other than the government jobs he's created. And that's the problem. So I think Romney's plan was clear, and President Obama wants to continue on 4 more years of what he's been doing, which has failed. He's outspent every president in U.S. history combined, and we have now been downgraded to AA from AAA with another downgrade pending. We are in bad economic shape.
What would the impact happen if the Bush-era tax cuts were expire, as they could at the end of the year?
It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. First of all, the fiscal cliff hasn't been addressed yet, which is unbelievable to me. The Obama administration has not proposed the budget. It's not going to be good. You're going to see huge tax increases, and the jobs, people are going to be laid off. There's going to be less people working. There's going to be, people won't have money to spend, and the economy will stagnate even worse than it is now. And we have a pathetic growth right now. It's not going to be good.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated as always.
Thank you, sir.
A State Department